So loops in Scratch. What are loops? Loops are actions that are performed again and again based on a particular condition. Loops are very essential in any programming language, and in Scratch, we do them using three blocks. You can see two of them over here on the screen. One is repeat, one is forever, and another special one called repeat until. You can find all three of them in the control block. Let's see how we use all three of them one by one. So let's start with repeat. Like let's use the variable my variable. We'll set it to 0 at the start before the loop. Always remember to set all your variables to 0 before the loop. It is very helpful to set a variable to 0 or some default value, because if the value changes, then when you run this program again, this sets it back to the default value, so it won't cause any problems in your program. So we'll also use the change block. The change block adds this number to this variable every time you use it. So for example, if I choose this number as 5, it's going to add 5 to this variable. Now you see this is 0. And when I click on this, it's going to change it by adding 5 to it. So I'm going to use this change block inside here. And now you can see if we don't set this to 0, the variable starts with 5. We'll see what the value of this variable will be after the end of the loop when I just say it. So what will happen is we'll set it to 0. It goes inside the loop. It adds 5. Then it adds 5 again. And then it adds 5 for a third time, and then it stops because we repeat this 3 times. So I'll also put a say before, just to show you how the changes occur. So I'll stop everything. Now I'll run. So initially it's a 0, and then in the end it's 15 because it adds 5 3 times. You can also change it to like 6, and then put a say inside as well, and then it's gonna say the variable every time it adds 5 to it. So you'll see basically the multiplication table of 5 till 6. So it's going to say 0, then which is not in the table of 5, but yeah, 5, 10, 15, and so on. And that's how the repeat block works. Pretty simple. Let's move towards something a little complex, which is the repeat until block. You go to control and you find the repeat until block. This is very important because a lot of people make mistakes with what condition they put inside the repeat until block, and it does something completely opposite. So how this block works is you perform the action, you repeat the action again and again until the condition inside here is achieved. So if I want to say use my variable, and then if I want to change it by 10 every time, and I want to perform this task until my variable becomes 50, I'm going to put either this block or this block. So if I want to repeat all the actions until my variable is equal to 50, I'll use this condition, and I can say my variable in the end. So what it does is it is going to add 10 to my variable every time, and then when it reaches 50, it stops and it says my variable. So it's just going to say 50. If I change it to 18, this condition is never achieved, so it just keeps on repeating it. Oh, like I didn't set my variable to 0, that's why it says 50 now. If I set it to 0, and now if I run it, it will never see anything because this condition is never achieved. If I check this, you can see the code is still running and it's still adding it because this condition is never achieved. Because in the equal to block, it should be exactly equal, otherwise it doesn't work. If I wanted to stop after it reaches 50 or it reaches something above 50, I'll just put this here, and then when 54, that is, it's greater than 50, it stops. If you want it to be 50 or greater, you can do 49, and then it's going to stop again at 54. But if I put this 10 condition again, it stops after 50. So that's how repeat until works. So it's very important to understand and repeat until what this condition means. It means that it's going to repeat all these actions until this condition is met. So always put these conditions in properly. And now we go into the forever loop. I'll just try to put this away. Yeah. We go back to control. We go to the forever block. You can see there's a line at the end. You can't attach any new blocks under it because the forever block runs forever and you don't attach anything below it. You can modify the forever block in such a way, or the condition inside here in such a way that it achieves a particular target which you want it to, and then you can display it. For example, if I set my variable to 0 and then change it by 1 inside here, and if I use a if condition, that if um, when my variable is greater than 50, say this is a very bad condition because after it reaches above 50, it's going to say it every time. I think I'll use the equal to block where if my variable is equal to 50, say hello, that's good enough. So you can see when I run this, it's going to say hello, and then it keeps on running forever. So you can make it um, target a particular condition and then say, do something, and then it just goes on forever. Um, Another way of using the greater than symbol is you can put this in here and then use the stop block, which you can find in control, and stop it after it's greater than 50. So you can see it reaches 51, which is greater than 50, and stops. So you can use the forever loop that way, where it reaches a certain condition and then stops. Other ways of using the forever loop are, I'll just put everything away, is for if you want to do something constantly, or if you don't want something to stop. For example, you can use next costume here, and you can also put a wait before it, like I'll wait for 1.2 to make the sprite do a particular action forever. You can also make it do something else, like if you go to motion and pick out go to random, there's two options here. One of them is go to random, where you make the sprite go to random places. So when I stop it and I just click on it, it just makes the sprite jump to random places. You can try other things as well, where you um, turn the sprite constantly. When you want a particular motion to go on forever, you can use the forever block. You can use it in many ways. So, so that is how all the loops in Scratch work.